Don't men want a woman who's in high demand?
Nope.
No?
Well,
They got a
You want an
song
ugly
about
girl?
that, though.
no, it's different. It's like you don't want, if a girl is like, has a bunch of suitors, you don't want that.
Why not?
But wouldn't attractive women have that?
I mean, you're
Well, it
attractive.
depends how-
It wouldn't make her more attractive.
It depends how,
Yeah.
it wouldn't make her more attractive because men don't need a cosign to find a girl attractive.
But does that come with
like
it, though?
pre-selection. Well,
So you like
doesn't
mid?
what's that?
Yeah, if you're hot, it comes with that.
No, it's not. It part of it is how out there you are on social media.
In what way?
Well, like if you have a social media presence, excuse me, then you're going to have much more suitors, much more options.
And that bothers you because
What do you mean?
why does it bother you if she has a lot of options or suitors?
It's not so much. It depends. Maybe I should clarify. If she's like dating around, she's going on a bunch of dates. For example, if I go on a first date with a girl and I find out that she's like dating other dudes while she's, even if it's a first date with me, I'm done. I'm not going to see her again.
Are you
So what's
dating
your
other women?
expectation?
Like, would you go on 2 dates in one day?
donated $99.
So you wouldn't meet her on a dating app, because if you're on a dating app,
Hold on.
Values, respect are openly shamed. Total respect for anyone who wouldn't intentionally get in the middle.
Wait, what?
Mayor
talking
Moore.
about
Not
him.
sure. What is
He's
this?
talking about you getting in the middle of her and her date, I think.
Respect our open, total respect for anyone who wouldn't intentionally.
We're
get
saying to
in the
go
middle.
for it. He's saying you're right and not going for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But then
no
what about
room in
dating apps?
this-
If you meet somebody on a
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you very
so
much.
you
What
would-
is it about
so she
you?
wouldn't, she wouldn't be
One, form a line, please, one at a time.
okay. So she wouldn't. So ideally, she wouldn't be on Instagram, or have a public Instagram at least, right?
Sure.
And she wouldn't be on a dating site. So you would have to meet her in person or something.
Or I
like
could
through
just
friends.
be like first there.
What is it about you?
So
that-
new,
On a dating-
like the new one
like
on
just
the dating app.
downloading the dating apps. Like I can save her.
Wait,
I can
okay,
save
so
her.
like you saw like my Instagram, like the way that it is, that would bother you?
I don't know. I didn't do a thorough
Okay.
review of your Instagram.
Okay.
I saw some bike photos or something.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, I could let my dad manage that account that I wouldn't care. Like that gives you a pretty good idea of how my DMs
Wait, what
are.
was the original point? I'm trying to return to.
Well,
the
like
original.
you say, like you don't want a girl that has like Instagram and stuff. Like
Like
I
a social
asked
media
you
follower.
why
You want
it's a turn off
competition.
if she has a lot of suitors, and then you said I don't like girls that date around. I want her to only be on a date with me. But
Yeah.
if you meet her on a dating app, what is it about you that would make her just be like?
Okay. Not all women on dating apps are just like going on tons of dates, although a fair amount of them are.
But women, when we're on a dating app, we have to like lower our we have to make it manageable. And then between a bunch
Sure.
of people, we don't have a preference because we don't know much about you yet.
Sure.
Right? So if she goes out with you, you expect something about you for her to be like, I'm not going to talk to anyone else until this one date happens.
Pretty much. Yeah, you basically even before I've come onto your radar, you need to have been single for like 3 years. No, I'm kidding. But
Well, do
Yeah.
you tell this to the girls up front? Like, hey, like, I don't want you to be seeing other people.
Do you have her
I would
screenshot her
ask.
combos on the dating app?
no, I'm not like, I'm not the type of guy that's like going to go through a girl's phone, but I'm going to like ask some questions.
Oh.
I'm going to
That'd
be
be a-
like, are you seeing anybody else right now?
Well, to find a girl without an Instagram, because like everyone uses it not even just to post photos, but just communicate or like consume content, right?
Yeah.
So wouldn't that be a small percentage of girls that you're limiting yourself to?
No, well, I didn't say if a girl has an Instagram, that's not like an immediate no-go for me.
I think you should just get off dating.
I'm trying to
apps.
remember what the original string was where I mentioned Instagram.
You said girls with following. So she asked you if a girl has a lot of suitors, is she still desirable? And you
No,
said
I-
no.
I
I know
don't know-
that
I
like
don't know
that
if that's the original
high value
string.
men hit the DMs and stuff, and that you could just come and take your women, and that Instagram is pretty much like a dating app. That's how you get like blue check marks sliding in your DMs and stuff.
Okay, well, the original thing was, let me see, total respect for anyone who wouldn't intentionally get in the middle. So this was about me saying I don't want to step on any toes. I think that's what initially brought on this conversation. So I'm trying to.
And then she said, "Isn't it hot if there's a lot of people in competition for the girl?"
No, that's not what I said.
okay.
I said that hot women naturally are going to have a
Okay.
lot of guys that are because they're hot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it doesn't
guys
necessarily
want
make them more
hot chicks.
attractive.
Like,
The thing
Yeah, it
about
doesn't.
dating,
It doesn't. It doesn't make the
but
girl
then
more
is that
attractive.
Does it make her
realistic?
less
No.
attractive?
But is that realistic though?
It could make her more less attractive. What's
Okay.
that?
I agree. Like that's annoying. Like if you could have like a guy that's hot with like a bunch of like girls hanging around versus not, obviously like I would also choose like not. But naturally in the territory when you have an attractive woman or attractive guy, there's gonna be people who want them. So like, don't you think that's really difficult to achieve? What you're saying is a hot woman who also magically has no guys into her, but she's still really hot and
Diamond in the
local
rough.
It's like a chick
and-
flick
Diamonds in the
scenario.
But would you
rough.
say that's realistic?
No one noticed her.
Well, would you?
Do you want her to have watched this podcast and been like, okay, I saw Brian on this dating app, now I'm not going to talk to him? Because why would she do that? She sounds like a lunatic if she just saw you. It's like, oh my God, I'm not talking to
Stalker.
him before she even meets you.
Okay, I guess I could also frame this like, is it unrealistic of me to want a woman who's not promiscuous?
No, that's
If she's
possible. But to
talking-
say,
But would you say that a majority of people are, well, a majority of women are promiscuous? So then, therefore, is it unrealistic for me to desire a partner that is not promiscuous, despite the majority of people engaging in promiscuity?
If
But
she's
when you
talking
say-
to multiple people on an app, is she promiscuous?
I think no. You mean selective. You want someone who's selective, so she's not going to choose to go on dates with all the guys in her
Anyone
queue
except
or
him,
whatever.
apparently.
No, so
Well-
she'll have guys that she matches with, but she's not going to actually go on dates with every single one.
I
of
guess
them.
I'm delusional.
Yeah.
I guess I'm
That's
delusional.
not
No,
how
I
dating
don't-
works, though. When you're
I-
dating somebody, you are allowed. The man is allowed to
Exactly.
be dating multiple people at the same time, and the woman
Haram.
is too. Because unless
Haram.
you say, "Hey,
Sounds-
we're in a relationship,"
Sounds too exclusive for a first
you
date,
have
though.
to lock that down and say, "Hey, we're in a committed relationship," in order for all that other side
You
shit
know
to
what?
stop.
I disagree with this. I think it's entirely reasonable for both men and women to be properly single and dating one person at a time. I don't think it's that hard.
I agree.
But
I
she
think
has to
it's-
do that
I think-
before she goes on the
s-
date with you. Like she has to already not like if she's on a dating app. Why do you expect you to be the only person she's
You
considering?
even if you're on a dating app, you can date just one person at a time. It doesn't mean that that given date is going to go the distance. It doesn't mean it's going to turn into a long-term relationship. But I think for both men and women, if you actually want the likelihood of any one given interaction of actually, going further, I do actually think dating one person at a time, and maybe it only lasts for one date, maybe it's only 2 dates, maybe it's only 3. I actually think that's going to be the thing that's going to be most likely to yield.
So what if she's going on one date a week and then she's not talking to anyone? She goes on the date. She's like, I don't like him. Next week she goes out.
I
with
think
you.
that's
don't like
okay.
him. Okay.
People
I think
are
that's
so
okay.
confused on
Yeah,
what
no, I
dating
know what you're
is.
saying.
But
it
it's
makes
like
sense.
we go on a first date. We go on a first date on Wednesday. She has a date with a guy scheduled for Friday. She has another date scheduled for Saturday. She's dating multiple dudes.
But if
I
she
don't want
dated
that.
you and she didn't have the date scheduled yet, she came home. She's like, Brian ain't it, and then she scheduled another.
Well,
date.
I
That's
ain't it, so I don't care.
And that's why people do that. Because
So what if you were
might
date
not-
number 32 on my list, and I had gone out on 33, but I waited until every date was over before I pursued them because I kind of did do that. Would you date me? No, you don't.
Would I just on that sole factor?
Well, you said you don't. Is that
It's
unattractive?
really well. Okay, look, I'll just reiterate. It's really not that hard, and this is what I think people in the past did. Now I think we were inundated with options. It's really not that hard to date one person at a time.
But dating one person at a time just means that when you have a date scheduled, you're not scheduling other dates until that date is finished. Is
I
that
kind
what-
of laser focus in on a girl. Like if I'm not,
that into her.
Okay.
I get what you mean because I also suffer from one-itis and like
it's
I
not
think
one-itis.
it's like it's hard to date multiple people because it's a lot and you just like want to focus on one person. But given the criteria that you've given, wouldn't that be like the top percentage of women
What do you mean? That
that are meeting all those requirements that you said?
which ones?
The ones
What are the requirements that I said?
The requirements that you said were she has to date one person at a time, basically close to zero social media presence, and also be very attractive and not have suitors. So if you want that top percentage of women, then is that realistic? Like, do you think that you qualify to get that?
Well, when it comes to the social media presence, I don't think I made that claim.
You said that you wanted someone with low social media presence, preferably without an Instagram. So like pretty low, pretty like uncommon
That
nowadays.
would be preferable in the same way that it would be preferable for a woman to date a billionaire.
So like, do you think
But
that small percent's realistic?
realistically,
Especially if it's
realistically,
one at a time.
okay, realistically, I don't have an issue dating a girl who has an Instagram. Now, there's scales to her online presence. For example, if the Instagram's private, okay, then she's like, or is it public? And then is it public and is she posting like kind of revealing photos? Then, there's degrees to it.
Yeah, so let's say there are degrees to it, I agree. But let's say you want someone with like close to none. It's what it came across as to me, like you don't want her posting herself at all, preferably, right?
I don't really care.
So
would it be my preference? Yes.
It'd be pretty hard to find someone like that. And I know because for me, that's also a green flag.
Mm-hmm.
When I was dating, it's a guy, low social media presence and things like that. So that's why I'm asking, do you think it's realistic? Because that's a small number of people, and I know because I've experienced it.
Here's the thing, though. You're saying, well, is it, and I think you're trying to get at, oh, Brian, you're kind of delusional for wanting this, but, or you're saying, I think you're trying to say, well, Brian, are you of a certain status or character where you could command a woman who moves like that? But I don't think, like, for example, that's not really a factor in terms of a woman's physical attractiveness.
Which thing?
So, okay, like a girl who doesn't have, for example, like let's say a girl who's below average in her physical appearance, she might not have a social media presence. Like that's not going to be the thing that's a deal maker for me.
Right, you have to be attracted to her in the first place. That's
Sure.
assumed. So like already,
Okay.
already that's a filter, right? Because every
Sure.
time you add a filter, like naturally it narrows down whether it be being a
Sure.
mom or whatever. So if you're getting a girl low social media presence, obviously it's a spectrum, but low social media presence, and also they aren't taking any photos of themselves, or like even if it's just like they're showing their outfit, if that's a problem. Like every time you do that, you're adding a filter, right? So then you have this very small dating pool. So I'm asking, do you think that that you could get that? Is it realistic?
Let me clarify. So I would date a girl who has Instagram.
But she posts put photos of her, like just pictures of her. It's not particularly provocative, but I don't know what your definition of that would be for that. So, like
Okay,
she's posting her outfits, she's posting herself.
I would,
selfies.
and I do, and I have dated women who have Instagram.
For long term.
Yes.
Okay, and they also have to be attractive.
To me, that's not. Some guys have different standards when it comes to that. But would it be my preference if someone had like low or no social media presence? Yeah.
I share that sentiment. But then also, you have to get a woman that meets those requirements and that also is okay with not having the security of marriage from you, that might bear your children. That might be really difficult to get, don't you think?
Okay, I don't follow. Like, sorry, maybe like it's my brain cells that
Explain
are just kind of cramped,
the
but,
interrogation to me. Where are you going with this?
So
I think.
If you're asking for a woman that has low body count, because you expressed that earlier, has low social media presence,
Sure.
also is attractive, but has no guys around that also want her, which is kind of out of her control to an extent. And also, this girl has to commit to you, only you one at a time, and then also has to not want the security of marriage and have your children. Don't you think that's going to be really difficult to find?
No, not really.
Why?
I think you can.
Why?
I mean,
There are plenty of people
like-
like that.
I've found it.
But you're
What?
like, are you in a relationship?
Huh?
Are you in a relationship?
Well, I'm not going to talk about my.
no,
my private
yeah,
life,
spill it,
but,
spill it,
Please,
sis, spill it.
Dating
I wanna
podcast.
know.
That's why he ain't trying to pursue. That's the real reason. He got something
on.
going on his damn self. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
You owe it to your super
I gotta
chatters.
keep certain things.
What's your
No, no, no,
sign,
no, no, no,
Brian?
no, no, no,
What's
no.
your sign?
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Taurus.
Taurus.
Oh,
Okay.
one of those.
Uh-huh.
So, whether you found someone or not, I understand if you want to keep it private, I get it. But those are a lot of things, like, and it's a very small amount of women. So, like, what do you personally view yourself as to get, like, there's this tiny group of women that are top quality, right? Because I agree, like, I also share the sentiment of, like, it would be top quality for a guy unless it's his job, social media, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, what do you rate yourself? How do you view yourself to get that small
What do
quantity
you bring to the table, Brian?
What do
Essentially.
I bring to the table?
Because it's really hard to get that. Hot
Money.
woman, no beta orbiters at all, even though it's not due to her own fault, no social media
Well,
presence,
I've
little.
stated. Hold on, I've stated on my podcast when it comes to physical appearance, I consider myself looks wise. I'd say like 6, and I would date a woman who's within that range, anywhere from 5. I think 5 to 7.
So
looks-wise.
if a woman is a 7 and then all those prior requirements that we discussed earlier, like, don't you think that would be difficult?
So are you calling him a low value man, basically, like indirectly, kind of?
He's saying that he's a 6, right? So like
Looks-wise.
So if a woman were like top notch, they would probably want a guy of similar caliber, and what he described as top notch. So
He just said he
It might be difficult to
date
get
a
that.
6 or 7.
I mean,
it might be even with a 7, it might be difficult. Even just like if she were ugly with
so
those
you're calling him a
requirements.
low value man.
No,
Yeah, you are.
I'm basing off of his answer. So even if you remove looks out of the equation, that'd be difficult.
I don't think. Perhaps society has changed. I don't think wanting a woman who dates one person at a time, who isn't posting like who isn't posting revealing photos online and isn't promiscuous. I don't think that's asking for much.
But also she'll commit to you without marriage and have your children without any sort of like thing to fall back on.
Strong label.
And then not work. Like, how would that work?
Well, where are you getting that other stuff from?
Well, you're saying that you would be for having a long-term relationship, and if she's working, a lot of guys are probably going to want her, considering she's like assuming that she's out in public around guys if she's attractive. So I would imagine you would find that ideal if the woman relied on you to provide. I imagine that would be conducive to your standards.
Well, where did you get the idea that I want to hold on? So you're saying I want to be a provider?
Well, you said long-term relationship, and you also want someone who doesn't interact with men. So how is she going to get money?
I didn't say that.
Well, if she's attractive, naturally, if guys interact with her, she's going to attract some,
Well, is
like
she
beta
working?
orbiters, right? If she's attractive, you don't want to date an ugly woman. That wouldn't be fair.
Beta orbit. I'm just trying to. Okay.
That you're
Listen.
gonna have like other guys hit on her, and like, is it gonna bother you?
Because wouldn't that be really hard if a woman had a job where she's interacting with a lot of guys, whatever the job may be, and then like also magically be attractive and not have simps or beta orbiters?
Okay, like I think you know the answer to that question. Honestly, like you're just asking to ask. Like, come
If
on.
men hit on her at her job, like there's nothing I can do about that. I'm not sure exactly what.
Yeah, but you said it's not ideal. You don't like that.
Well, certainly it's not ideal. Is this the fucking interrogation here? But
Probably should go back to the Compton dating.
It's I think for both men and women, it's not an ideal scenario for your significant other to be hit on by someone else.
I agree with you, but it's a lot of list of requirements. So if you only consider yourself average, wouldn't that be hard to get a woman that's of that value?
But aren't you sitting in his studio right now, like his YouTube channel, and you're here calling him like a low value man, like he's got nothing going for himself?
I didn't call him average. I'm based off of what he said as the answer, right? And the list of requirements that make it harder, even if you didn't factor in.
Well, he said
flaws.
what his
Wait, so
preferences
am I-
were. He has preferences, and you're saying that he's being
It's a lot. It's
delusional.
an uncommon preference. So to
What
get
what
that,
is an
it's
uncommon
not uncommon.
preference?
to find a woman that's really attractive that also doesn't have.
I literally
sense.
just
It's
said
called
I would.
high
I would-
standards.
I just
Date
said
a
I would
6
date
or
a
a
woman
7,
between like a 5 and a 7. That's within the. I consider myself to be a 6.
Top
That's
1%
like.
of women.
It's not a lot. It's just having standards for yourself, which I think it's
You can
totally
have standards
fine.
for yourself, but I'm just pointing out that it'd be really difficult to get that.
Suits donated $99. Okay, I apologize to the lawyer. I thought she was bad. Who is this slow person across from Brian?
I'm
Bimbo
just.
power.
What are you
Please
digging
don't
at?
compare
Like
me.
I feel like you're trying to clip farm me, but I'm like not entirely sure how. But
No, you're totally clip
I feel like
farming.
we
That's
both kind of
basically.
agree on this.
You're doing a good
situation,
job, though.
so I'm kind of confused.
but
I'm clarifying it. So if I had
okay.
a,
So here. Okay. Look. I'm not in favor of marriage.
right,
Okay.
that disqualifies you from a lot of attractive,
Their
high quality
Meatball
women.
donated
Not necessarily.
$100. On a scale from 1 to 10, what do the people on the panel consider themselves on overall value?
Here we'll
Here we go again.
we'll finish off this thread with Brittany here, and then Mr. Meatball. We'll come back to that. So are you saying that I'm too selective, I'm too picky, or I'm trying?
I'm not making any definitive statements. I'm based off of your answer.
You're just saying it's going to be hard for.
And
Well, okay, fine. I agree with you. In 2023, it will be hard to find a woman who's not promiscuous. I agree.